I can tell.
Great.
That's what campaign will do for you, isn't it, Bo?
Okay, we are now live, so this time the mayor will call to order the regular city council meeting, 7 p.m. Tuesday, December the 1st, 2020. City council chambers, 201 East Nash Street in Terrell, Texas. For the record, we have in chambers, District 4, Charles Whitaker, and District 5, Tim Royce. We have remotely District 2, Greg Simpson, and District 3, Mayrani Velasquez. As we begin our meeting, I want to ask that each of our council members, when you're in and about the community, if you're speaking to someone or if you have any influence, to remind those of our COVID-19 guidelines to wear masks, social distance, and wash hands frequently for a minimum of 20 seconds. We need to stay on top of the COVID-19 new surge locally. The last thing we want to do as a community is have to shut down or pull back on our businesses right here at Christmas time. So if you would, just remind those in and around you to wear masks when they're out and about in our community, and let's see if we can't get those numbers back down to a manageable amount. At this time, Grady, would you please lead us in invocation?
Yes, ma'am. Lady God, I hope, please. Oh, Father God, we come giving you much gratitude for this day. We thank you for keeping us all this adverse time. We just ask and pray for the citizens of Terrell. We pray for your guidance and wisdom so that violence will not overtake us. No negativity overtake us. But we ask that your supreme wisdom and power will reign and run this city in the way that it needs to be run. Right now, God, we lay our lives before you to teach us, to guide us in a way that will keep us safe and that will make a productive city. And all in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, which state under God, one and indivisible.
So our next item on the agenda is mayor and council community recognition and events. I do want to take just one moment and say thank you to our city staff and our police department for handling the situation this past week. They did an outstanding job, and those in the community who had any part to play in maintaining control. The last thing we need is folks thinking that the city is not in control, and not to panic, and understand that you have good leadership from the mayor and the council and the rest of the city as we move forward. Is there anybody who would like to make any community recognitions? This time, we'll move on to hear remarks from visitors, if we have any. There are none in the chamber. So we'll move on to item number 6.1 is discuss and consider resolution number 1004, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Terrell, Texas, setting a date, time, and location for a public hearing on proposed annexation of certain properties by the City of Terrell, Texas, designated as number 2020-3, as set forth on the attached Exhibit A, authorizing and directing the city manager to execute a voluntary petition for annexation of city-owned property, directing the city secretary to publish notice of such public hearing in newspapers and on city internet website, authorizing a description of the property to be annexed, and directing notice of proposed annexation to the affected property owners. And that's going to be resolution number 1004. Mr. Sims.
So, Mayor and Council, this actually replaces Resolution 1003.
As you know, we talked about this at a previous meeting, and the desire at the previous meeting was to move forward with these 3 annexations. At the time, we were hoping to have the public hearing on December the 8th. Due to some issues with the Tribune, the Terrell Tribune, and when they could run the advertisement for those public meetings, we actually had to shift this over to a public meeting on December the 15th. And so we always appreciate our cooperation that we have with Terrell Tribune. They do a great job for us, and it just so happened this time around there was a publication glitch there. So we really just need to readopt the same resolution. It's shown here as 1004. A couple of the highlights, as we talked about last time, is that these are 3 different properties. A1 is the city lake. A1, pardon me, is the city gun range, and it actually abuts over to Bachelor Creek. So this is south of Interstate 20, directly on FM 2578. Part of the property already is within the city limits. A small part of the property is within the city limits, so we meet our adjacent requirements there. And then FM 2578 is there just south of Interstate 20. This is actually the site. I'm reminded by Steve Rogers, for those of you who can remember this far back, there used to be a city wastewater treatment plant out of this location when we were doing discharge into this part of Bachelor Creek. Of course, that's many years in the past, and that facility is no longer there. We currently use most of the property as the city gun range, and we've just identified we want to include this within our city limits. The next page, A2, shows the city-owned lake for annexation. This is the new city of Terrell Lake out on the very far east side of Terrell. For one reason or another, even though the lake was built in 1954, or opened, I should say, in 1954, it was never annexed into the city. So this is exclusively city-owned property. It abuts the current city limits of the Union Pacific Railroad, and we're annexing roughly the western 2/3 of the lake in this particular action. And you can see that map there. That's about 844 acres. So that's a big chunk of land, but it is all city-owned land. The last one is the one that you saw in the front page of the newspaper here recently, and it is the one where I've requested voluntary annexation of the land that my wife and I own directly adjacent to the current city limits. As y'all know, just north of the high school, there is a end to our city boundary. I happen to have a piece of my home right there bordering on that, so I'm able to annex without impacting anybody around me. Of course, this isn't a decision on any of these 3 things. This is a request to put these 3 items into the newspaper. We've got some wording that we updated recently in the resolution that Mary Gail provided for us that clarifies which properties these are again. Again, 2 publicly owned, 1 privately owned, and we believe this should be a fairly straightforward set of annexations. And this calls the public hearing. Again, the main point is it calls the public hearing for December the 15th at 7 o'clock.
So we will have a public hearing on December the 15th if council moves forward with the resolution. Is there any questions, comments? We've seen it, discussed it before, so hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, make a motion that we approve resolution 1004.
We have a motion from Tim Royce, Deputy Mayor Pro Tem, District 5. Is there a second?
Second.
Have a second from Charles Whitaker, District 4. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor let it be known by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion will carry. Before we move on, I want to thank the city staff for having the dividers here in the council up at the dais. I'm sure Don worked on that as well as others, but it's good and it's part of the COVID protocol for us to be able to meet all in the chambers again. I look forward to having everybody back at City Hall, but you know, when we opened up, we still were wearing masks when we came in, And this allows us to take the mask off and speak freely during these times of COVID-19. So I just wanted to say thank you, and I'm sure the council appreciates it as well. This time we'll move into executive session. We're going to adjourn into executive session in accordance with Section 551 of the Texas Government Code to discuss the following. Section 551.071, consultation with attorney pending or contemplated litigation. Section 551.072, deliberations regarding real property. And Section 551.087, deliberations regarding economic development negotiations. We are now in executive session.
Mayor, I'm going to move up to
Okay. Okay, we are now going to reconvene into regular session and consider action, if any, on items discussed in executive session. Is there any motions?
Mayor, I make a motion to authorize the city manager to negotiate and the mayor to execute a memorandum of agreement with MJ Pipeline.
We have a motion from Charles Whitaker, District 4. Is there a second?
Mayor, I second.
We have a second from Mayor Ronnie Velazquez, District 3. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion will carry. Is there another motion?
Mayor, I move that we approve the final plat for MJ Locating Services Lot 1, Block 1, being a replat of part of the original town of Terrell, Block 103, Block 114, Block 115, Block 116, Block 451, Block 452, Block 453, and Block 454. J. Cud Survey, abstract number 90, City of Terrell, Kaufman, Texas, as previously recommended by the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Have a motion from Tim Royce, Deputy Mayor Pro Tem District 5. Is there a second?
Second.
Have a second from Charles Whitaker, District 4. All those in favor, let it be known by stating aye.
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 Aye. Are there any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3. Is there another motion?
Yes, Mayor. I move to authorize the city manager to direct the engineering firm retained by the city on the Temple Street reconstruction project to recommend an estimate of cost for funding a plan for improvements and landscaping for the future Mayfield Street right-of-way.
We have a motion from Charles Whitaker, District 4. Is there a second?
Second.
Have a second from Mayor Ronnie Velazquez, District 3. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion will carry. That's it. We are now adjourned.